everyone, a little video today on how we can use make.com to look through a bunch of text and extract an email address using regular expression, but as well as that, think about how we can use that within a real life scenario with real life salespeople, and how you can use it to be super efficient and super effective with your communication following a sales meeting. So let's start with the basics. We've got a website here called Yorkshire Pressure Washing Services, and we've got an email address here. Now we can use regular expression or regex to essentially look through that website and find the email address. So let's start by seeing in action. So if we just run this, what we're going to use here is a HTTP module that's going to visit that website, and then essentially we're going to output an email address. And the way that happens is essentially a match pattern. And what we have in here is a bunch of regular expression, and don't worry too much about that. I'm going to just put that in the description so you can copy and paste it. But that's going to look through the bunch of data that we feed it and extract the email address. So now at this stage, you're probably thinking, oh, we could do that on a slightly bigger scale. So what we have here is we have basically a Google spreadsheet with a bunch of URLs, and this could go on for, I don't know, 100 URLs. And then we have the same process: visit the website, extract the email address, update the Google sheet. So let's just run that now. And you can see we've got a bunch of email addresses. And again, your mind might start working at that stage and think, okay, we can do some quite clever stuff once we've got that email address. Now, there's a point to add here, and that this is pretty accurate. I would say 99% accurate. And we're feeding it a huge amount of data here. So if we actually look at the data, a homepage of a website, there's going to be quite a lot in there. And who's to say that the email address on the homepage or the contact us? Now, there's a lot of detail that we could get into there around web scraping, and that's not for today. We're just going to try and keep it simple. So that's regex. Now, if we look at a different option, now let's just say you're not comfortable using that and you want to use something even simpler. You could use an assistant within ChatGPT. So you could set yourself up an assistant here, and essentially you're going to give it some basic prompts saying, if you find an email address, return that email address. If you don't find the email address, return no. That simple. Feed it the same data, and it's going to give you the same outcome. The only comment I'd make is that that's very inefficient and very costly, because you're going to burn tokens, and this is good enough. All right, so that's the basics. But now let's look at it in a real life situation. We've got a scenario here that we're going to talk through, but let's start with a scenario in real life. You've got a bunch of salespeople, and they're traveling around the country. They're driving around the country, having some great meetings. They're talking to people, but if you know salespeople, they have one fundamental flaw, and that is that they're not great at updating a CRM system. They're great at the conversation bit, but maybe not the follow through. And we know that fortune favours the follow-up. So how can we help them? By the way, I've been there myself. I'm no good at updating CRMs. Well, we could set up a really basic system that's integrated within their internal chat. So take Slack or Teams or whatever. We're going to use Slack for this instance. And we could just set up a channel that looks like this. And we could call it Sales Assistant. And Sales Assistant's a great word because that's a real life job. And with a lot of automations, you're able to get to a stage where, potentially you can use automation over a person, which can save the business money. Most of the cost in the business walks around on two legs, right? So if there's a way we can be efficient and effective, then fantastic. So basically, this make run will trigger anytime there's a message in here. So if there's a message in here, you're going to see that make run trigger. All I've added is a filter, basically, that looks through the message and says, does it contain the @ sign? Because we could train our salespeople and say, right, okay, guys, if you need a quick response, fire a message in this channel, include an email address, and they're going to get an email. All right, that's the basis of this. So let's talk it through very, very quickly, and then let's see the outcome. So we have a message in here. We're then going to get the user. So we could have, say, 20 users in that channel, 20 salespeople, and we're going to extract their name and email address, and that's going to be really important because we can then assign that lead to them within a CRM. We're then going to use ChatGPT to help us create an email. We're then going to grab that email using what we just talked about from that text within Slack. We're then going to email the contact. We're then going to add them to our CRM. We're going to add a note. We're going to let the team member know they've done it. And I've just added a little bit of HTML here so you can actually see what the email looks like as opposed to seeing it with a bunch of code. And then I've just added the delete contact because I don't want to keep this contact within our CRM. Right, enough talking. Let's see it in action. So I met Colin today at Windows, and he's interested in our window cleaning services. His email is colin@windows.com. Note for me, contacts in 3 days' time. All right, now when I hit send on this, we're going to see the make run trigger. And so it's got the user. It's now messaging the sales assistant. And just while it runs here, I'm just going to show you the assistant here. So you're a helpful, intelligent writing assistant who works for Window Cleaning Services Limited and writes in English as a sales representative from Window Cleaning Services. And essentially what we're saying here is you're going to receive this information and then basically create a follow-up. And we've given it an example email of what we'd like it to look like. And then all of a sudden from that one message, now what we've done is we've created, I'll just show you the email first. So we've created an email basically saying, well, it's very, very similar to our prompt, but essentially a really nicely formatted email. Feel free to pop me an email, etc., etc. You know, that email might take, 2 minutes to write? But again, are they going to be in the car? Are they going to be on the move? The other cool bits of what's happened is we've added them to our CRM, and we've added a little note saying an email has been sent, here's the notes, here's what you've said, and a note for you to contact them in 3 days' time. Yeah, so you can start to get quite advanced with this and start to think about, right, okay, all of a sudden these leads are entering the CRM, so they're getting remarketed. We're getting instant emails that are personalized out to that person. And what we have now is something that is completely systemized, and we've got kind of no holes in our bucket. So we've got these leads coming in, but they're getting instant responses. And then within our Slack channel, we've just got a little notification so that that salesperson knows what to do next. You know, a follow-up email has been sent, contact record has been created, and please view the contact here. And again, we've built that within here using some very, very basic things, you know, the contact ID field from the contact that's been created. And then we've made it look a little bit nicer. But this is pretty basic. But these tools are available to you. And what you can start to think about is how you can use this specifically for you. There's so many use cases for so many different businesses. But extracting an email address is a great starting point. I think my point of this video is what you do next. Yeah, can you take that email? Can you use AI to then, you know, come up with something that you can then follow up to that person? So I hope you found that useful. The expression will be in the email for you to copy and paste. And yeah, good luck with it all.